the boogeyman got me or what happened. This is something else I want to share with you. Uh, this is something else I want to share with you why it is important, uh, what's going on. Why do you think 4547 is doing anything that he is told? Uh, Anything that he is told. So let's get into who put the security system into Jeffrey Epstein's house. Let's get into that. This will also be under Iran war.
This show goes up that shows that the Israeli government installed, alarms and security equipment, surveillance equipment, at Jeffrey Epstein's East 66th Street apartment, stretching for years.
Who? They? Oh, wait a minute. They did say that Epstein was either Mossad or Mossad connected. It has been reported. But wait a minute. What are you telling me about the security cameras in Epstein's home? Who put them up? Uh, could people be compromised by the security cameras that were put up in Epstein's home? Let's. This will be under Iran war.
This show goes up that shows that the Israeli government installed, alarms and security equipment, surveillance equipment, at Jeffrey Epstein's East 66th Street apartment, stretching for years. According to emails that have been released by the Department of Justice in 2016 and 2017 at least, and it looks like for periods that go beyond that, because Ehud Barak was staying so frequently in the apartment. He's the former prime minister of Israel, and former prime ministers are entitled to certain levels of security throughout the rest of their career. Barak would be especially entitled to it because of his time as Minister of Defense and also as a top intelligence official. He was staying for long stretches of time at Jeffrey Epstein's apartment, which was technically owned by Mark Epstein, but effectively controlled by Jeffrey Epstein, Mark Epstein, his brother. That the Israeli consulate, the UN permanent mission for Israel in New York, became responsible for security at this Epstein apartment. They installed different surveillance and security devices in that apartment. You put up, I don't know if we have either of these two elements available, but they go back and forth, and it turns out that basically anybody who wanted to go into the apartment had to have a background check and had to be cleared by the Israeli government. And there was the handler for the apartment even turned over, according to the emails. So like they're going back and forth with, they're saying, hey, we're going to have some new folks coming in, and a different Israeli government official responds, say, oh, I'm taking over for Rafi. I'm now handling this apartment security. That's the gist of of what we can glean, just from these documents. Of course, 2016, 2017, this is like long after his conviction. And the first thing it does is blow away the claims by Ehud Barak that they barely ever met. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay. But I think we have pretty convincingly blown away that one already.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it also means that the Israeli government,
who was the prime minister of Israel, who is in the Epstein files, and why that is important.
Knew how close Epstein and Barak was. This is also the same apartment where Yoni Koren, who was another Israeli spy and a protege of Barak, stayed. He stayed at that apartment as well.
And where is this part? What is this apartment?
So it's East 66th.
This is
not the townhouse.
This is the.
It's maybe a 20-minute walk from this apartment to the kind of Central Park famous townhouse. It's an apartment where he would have people stay who were coming into town.
I was going to say, I've seen this in the emails,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's women.
Yes, a lot of
Yes.
times it's women.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they would have to clear.
Yeah.
He would have to clear those women if it was during these stretches of time.
He often appears to be giving it as a favor.
With the consulate, it is a
Yeah.
favor. Like people, and he did his Paris apartment this way too.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna be in Paris. Can I stay at your place?
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna be in New York. Can I stay at your place?
And sometimes you see him talking to girls where he says, at least do me the courtesy while you're staying in my apartment to, keep me apprised.
Right, because she didn't get back to him
Yeah.
fast enough.
Yeah,
She was out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I assume that's the 66.
That yes.
Well, so that's very interesting.
Mark's company
Nothing's interesting about that. No, you said all of that to say absolutely nothing to stop the story, stupid bitch.
owned like most of the building.
Okay.
Seems like
Okay.
the development company. And yeah, so you can read the story from some of the details on it. But yeah, so that's a pretty tight link right there.
This is one
that
of
the
the
Israeli
most-
government was doing the security for Epstein's apartment.
This is one of the most significant stories to come out of the entire DOJ archive, I think, Ryan. This one from you and Maz is huge.
And people will say, well,
Now, if you're not familiar with Ryan, go over to Drop Site News. Let me put Drop Site News. Unlike her slowing down the story, she's a Republican operative. If you have not gone over to Drop Site News, they get through all of the fluff and the hubbub, and they give you some great news. It is a Substack. The link will be in my description box as well. I'm gonna drop this news, Drop Site News. If you really want some news that is unfiltered, that you can that you can depend on, let me drop their link in the chat. Here you go. Here is the link to Drop Site News. I hate the way she. This is the apartment. Where is the apartment? That means nothing. Quit stalling the story. Drop Site News. Go over there and check it out. I'm gonna go backwards a little bit because my stream cut off inadvertently. And there also seemed to have been something amiss with the way my stream was streaming. So let's go back. I want to make sure you guys did not miss anything. Let's go back because I want to make sure you guys didn't miss the connections that I'm trying to make here. So we're going to go backwards. If you've seen it, if you were here prior to this, bear with me because I'm trying to make a point. Since the United States is about to go to war with Iran, I think that is important that we go over a little. As you see, all of my links, I share them with you in the description box. All of this stuff that I'm about to share with you is under war with Iran. So why is it important that the Israelis were the ones who did the security at the Epstein mansion? Let's review that again. We understand that Mike Huckabee is the ambassador to Israel. We understand that Tucker Carlson who I'm not a fan of, but he was detained in Israel after going to Israel to do a story with Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee and he had been going back and forth about their beliefs about Israel. Huckabee supposed to be some Baptist preacher who believes that the Israeli land is his because there is no such land as Palestine or some bullshit. Something about some land is Sumatra. Let's see what Mike Huckabee says. But Mike Huckabee is silent on how all of that money is missing from where his daughter Sarah went to Paris, and all of that money is missing from the coffers where she is governor. What is it? Alabama or Arkansas or wherever the fuck. Mike Huckabee ain't got shit to say about that. I digress. Let's go.
During Tucker Carlson's kind of contentious conversation / debate with U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, the topic of land rights came up. Obviously, that's usually front and center when it comes to the ongoing conflict between Israel and pretty much everyone else in the region. And so in order to justify the mass slaughter campaigns and land theft from Palestinians, Israelis claim that they're, the original Israelites from the Bible and that they have a biblical right to that land. So Tucker Carlson challenged Huckabee on that. Let's take a look.
Abram's descendants are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are? It's really simple. We've cracked the human genome. We can do that. Why don't we do that? Would you be against doing that?
I have no idea what that would prove. I mean, maybe it would be.
What do you mean? It would prove who Abram's descendants are and who has a right to live here and who doesn't, according to the theology that you yourself just explained. And so I'm very confused as to why we don't do that. If you believe the theology that you've just explained to me.
Would we do that all over the world?
Well, this is the only country in the world that you've said has this covenant with God, that this people have a moral and legal right to the land.
What about people who convert to Judaism? Would they have a right?
No, they wouldn't have the right. They wouldn't have the right to go into a country on land that doesn't belong to them and literally ethnically cleanse it and steal it from the Palestinian people. No, they wouldn't have the right to do that. That's my take on it. But hold on, Jane. Then Huckabee says that it would actually be fine if Israel took all of the Middle East. Take a look.
You have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. Mm-hmm. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis.
Yeah.
You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
Yeah, he is.
It would be fine if they took it all. This is the U.S. ambassador to Israel. Why is any of this important? Because the America is about to go to strike Iran again. Understand, we're going backward because I've already covered this. There seemed to have been some problem in my feed. We're going to go backwards. We are going to go to Ken Klippenstein. If you have already heard this, hey, Happy Life. It's good to see you. Hello, Stephen McGauley. It is good to see you as well. We're going to go backwards. All these links are in my description box already about the war with Iran. Ken Klippenstein. These are all the. Are we going to war with Iran? Deciphering the coverage. This is all the coverage that we have about this war Trump is striking Iran, certainty, a possibility. Uh, the next conflict, we're looking at the potential for a U.S. Attack on Iran. U.S. orders some personnel out of Beirut embassy. How Iran might be uh, preparing itself for a potential U.S. strike. 10 predictions for the potential U.S. strikes on Iran, a potential escalation with Iran. All of this potential stuff. Nobody knows if we're going to war with Iran, including Donald Trump. But the frenzied media coverage leaves the impression that it's already been decided. The message of the coverage is clear. It doesn't really matter what the public think. It has no role to play in the decision. It is too ignorant to understand the issues anyway. The public, unfortunately, seems to be going along with the story, which is particularly tragic given the triumph of activism we've observed both in both ICE and Epstein. Again, no decision has yet been made about Iran. It is worth considering who benefits from this false impression of an inevitable march to war. First, there's Donald Trump, who gets to be cast as the author of reality. Then there's the military, whose much reported preparations serve as a TV commercial for the only real inevitability here, the request for billions more in tax dollars. This is going to be a commercial to tell you why in the next tax bill we need to increase the Pentagon budget. The Pentagon budget, which is historically over $1 billion right now. Oh, okay. The media gets its views and its clicks by scaring the shit out of everyone. The expert class gets to weigh in and sound sober and authoritative while basically saying nothing, and Congress gets to act out their own theater of authority, hemming and hawing about abstract questions of policies, procedures, and uh, legally lethality. I'm sorry, but never the basic question of whether this is good or bad, smart or stupid. Even the Iranian regime benefits if they are allowed to increase control and repression in the face of war. But the public of Iran or America, not so much. The barrage of media coverage says almost nothing about what has actually happened. Particularly, every headline is peppered with qualifiers like potential or possible. The New York Times, the New York Times reported that the Trump considers a second later strike should the first potential strike he is also considering doesn't achieve its direct desired effects. Some recent some recent illustrations of the absurdity of this news cycle. MSNBC co-host Anna Cabrera warns the potential escalation with Iran could be imminent. CBS headline: Trump striking Iran is certainly a possibility. How can a possibility be certain? Ken Klippenstein wants to know. Wolf Blitzer of CNN this morning is asking, are we seeing signs of the United States potentially shielding its personnel from potential Iranian attack? His guest, some retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Lathan, replied, usually when things like the embassy evacuations occur, that means that action is imminent, or at least a very high possibility. I could go on and on with the countless more examples of the news stories that say nothing, but the benefit of the wall-to-wall coverage is clear. I took a look at CNN's YouTube page and realized that its own Iran segment, Trump preparing to strike Iran by this weekend, has its second highest view count, raking up nearly 700,000 views. segments before and after one post uh, don't even crack 100,000 to give you a sense of how much a home run that this is for CNN's YouTube channel. And there is the proof. He always drop receipts. We see the CNN about the weekend Iranian strikes, 696,000. The post before it, 26,000. The post after it, 99,000. So there's that. Yes, the military is preparing because, well, that's what the military does. Isn't it the first? This isn't the first time it's had two aircraft carriers in the region. Not even the first time in the past year. If you remember, I reported back in March, Clint Klippenstein was reporting how America and Israel were doing flyovers close to the Iranian border. They were, come to find out, they were preparing for that mission where Israel struck Iran, and then the United States turned around and struck Iran, and because they said that they were building nuclear capabilities and they would have them very shortly. And why would they be doing that? Because in his first term, 45, 47, tore up the nuclear deal that had been agreed upon by the UN and that Barack Obama had brokered. He tore it up, and then what was allowed to happen? The same thing that has been allowed to happen for the past 30 years. Benjamin Netanyahu has been able to come out and tell you that Iran is within days or weeks or months of creating a nuclear weapon. That's what happened. So here we are again, after just striking them in June of last year, after they were doing flyovers of Iran as early as March. President 45, 47 got in office in January. By March, we were doing flyovers by Iran with B-52 bombers. By June, we were striking Iran. Let that sink in. And I told you all about it at the time that it was happening. But your for-profit media told you nothing about these B-52 bombers doing flights with Israel. They told you nothing. They said that they were just doing routine flights to help show them how to refuel in the air and this, that, and the other. Meanwhile, Israel told its people exactly what they were doing. That they were going to strike Iran. If you are not subscribed to Ken Klippenstein, all of this was reported to you with receipts way back in March of 2025. Here is his the link to Ken Klippenstein. Avail yourself to his reporting because it's always spot on. Freedom for all. Okay. Okay. We're not there yet. Okay. So there is the link to the king. Are we going to our war with Iran? Is the wrong question. Most important, because we're already at war with Iran, and that war has already escalated. How do you say? In the past excuse me, in the past year alone, we've seen Operation Midnight Hammer, the June 22nd, 2025 strike on Iran nuclear facility involving a I think it's 52 bomber and dozens of Tomahawk missiles. Operation where your president told you that their nuclear capabilities were obliterated, which means they are no more. But now Benjamin Netanyahu is up saber rattling that Iran cannot have nuclear capabilities to even power their city. They cannot have any nuclear capabilities for anything at all. You know, the thing that the inspectors were coming in to make sure that they only had nuclear capabilities to power their country, and that they found no uh, enrichment of uranium for weapons when they were actually under the agreement that was actually signed, unlike the fake ass agreement that was not signed by Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas about this ceasefire, where they have not ceased firing, where there is where 4547 is going to take $10 billion out of the American Treasury for this fake ass, in my opinion, board of peace, where they have plans to rebuild Palestine into some tech oligarch fun city for the billionaire classes. But we supposed to be looking at what's going on in Iran once 4547 came into office and mysteriously did everything that Netanyahu told him to do. Actually, tore up the agreement that showed that Iran was not proliferating any weapons. After inspectors were going in to check to make sure they weren't doing this. Now we were told in June that they had been obliterate. They had obliterated all of the areas where they did this enriching of the uranium. And now here we are once again in late February, about to strike them again over the same shit. And did you just not hear Mike Huckabee say that it would be okay if all of the Middle East went to Israel? What the fuck we doing here? Did you also did not hear me play the tape that Israel was the ones who set up all of the cameras in Jeffrey Epstein houses? Did not hear me tell you that it has been reported all over the media that Epstein was either Mossad or Mossad connected, and if Israel is putting up all of the cameras in Epstein's house. Do you wonder why your president of the United States, who has been reported to have been in the Epstein files over 1,000,000 times, is taking your country to war? It don't cost him nothing. It doesn't cost him anything. So do you wonder where people who are compromised, who can be blackmailed, are willing to do? Especially, it's no money out of his pocket. He's robbing the treasury. He's taking $10 billion on this fake ass board of peace, and nobody's batting an eye. He just told you that he basically won his lawsuit, and I don't even think the lawsuit has even been filed. He told you he's basically already won the lawsuit where he's suing the IRS for $10 billion because his tax forms were released with over, I think, 400 or 400,000 other people, but he is suing the United States for $10 billion. And Scott, the only thing your Treasury Secretary Scott Besson said, well, yeah, I would have to pay it, but he says he's giving it all to charity. Charity starts at home. The last I heard, charity starts at home. Okay, so this is where I am going with this. Okay, Operation Midnight Hammer, Operation Rising Lion, June 2025, attacks by the Israelis. And then we came back and we were told that we must attack. And so what did the United States do? They attacked as well. So why are we going back? U.S. strikes in Yemen, Syria, and Iraq to do damage to uh, Iranian networks, ongoing cyber attacks on Iranian government network capabilities, the initiation of covert and special operations to prepare for potential strikes, ongoing cover operations to facilitate aid and regime change, including the covert shipment of Starlink terminals into Iran to facilitate protests and organizing and restoration of maximum pressure sanctions against Iran. U.S. forces have been building up since December, predating the Iranian crackdown on protesters. So don't forget, 4547 said that they if they unalived any protesters, that there would be hell to pay. And what happened? I think approximately over 30,000 protesters have lost their lives in Iran. However, this is the same government that is seeking their DOJ, their ICE officials on American citizens if they protest. But we are to believe that our this same government is so out of sorts if something happens to protesters in Iran when they don't give a fuck what happened to the American protesters. American protesters are getting shot in the street, not minority protesters. We mean not undocumented immigrant protesters. We actually mean white women. Okay, white women is a bit much to care about. White men are getting shot down in the street. American citizens. Oh, we starting to care. Not a whole lot. Not 30,000. One, and now we're starting to care. We think that the United States of America give a fuck about protesters when the Department of Justice have put out a memo to collect all the information to put protesters in a database to determine them to be domestic terrorists. So what the fuck you think that the United States give a fuck about protesters in Iran? When they don't give a fuck about, they're trying to make protesters in the United States be listed as domestic terrorists. If you don't believe me, I just gave you the link. Let me give you the home link to Ken Klippenstein. Let's review some of the reporting with actual receipts that is done by Ken Klippenstein. Treat yourself. The revolution is here. Prince Andrew arrested today, and the Trump retreats from Minneapolis approves it. ICE expands watch list efforts. ICE has a watch list. It is not for the excuse me undocumented immigrants. It's for the United States protesters. ICE mask up in more ways than one. The McCarthy campaign against Mandami, Homeland Security spying on Reddit users, ICE. In ICE war, the public is winning. That's when protesters start fighting back. Feds identify Antifa leader, allegedly this young guy. ICE secret watch list of Americans. If you are not familiar with that, there are receipts, there are memos included and with Ken Klippenstein's memos from the Department of Homeland Security. ICE unloads. ICE making a list of anyone who films them. And they are telling you that they are going to put you on a domestic terrorist watch list. Is there such a thing? Of course there is. Department of Homeland Security domestic terror obsession. All of this stuff, all of this information, all with receipts from the actual government agencies. Let me see. What else? Let me see. Let me see. What else will you find here? Exclusive secret ICE programs revealed. Immigration agent terrified of ICE backlash after shooting. And they mean the backlash from the public, not from their bosses. Be sure. ICE is okay with Renee Good's killing. Let me see. Where else? Where else? Let me see. There is some other things that are that the memorandum. Let me see. A Trump enemies list meets a media blackout. The NSPM7. If you are not familiar with the National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, that is the actual memorandum that was put out by your government that will figure out ways to to deem you as a domestic terrorists in your own country, based upon someone or it be determined that you are anti-capitalist, anti-Christian, have extreme views on sexual identities. What else? Let's get into this one since we're here. Let's get into some of this reporting that is done on by Ken Klippenstein, while we think that the America cares about uh, the protesters in Iran. Let me see. For anyone who would, let me see. Let me let me give you the actual details. Bondi orders FBI to prioritize domestic terrorism investigation. Memo targets Antifa and similar groups. And Antifa is not a group. FBI to develop strategies to disrupt criminal networks. DOJ calls for prosecuting extremist group for tax crimes. That's the only thing that Rutgers got out of this MSPM7. But what did they miss in this MSPM7? They're talking about taxes. Let me see. What did they miss? Let me see. Let me see. Okay. What did Rutgers miss? Let me see. Where is my mouse? Not having gone to journalism school myself, I guess I missed a lesson on how compelling tax law is. But it gets worse for NSPM7 and its broad reordering of the sprawling domestic spy machine is not addressed. Guardian subheadline goes on. Move is a part of the Trump broader crackdown on left-wing group, including a designation of Antifa as domestic terrorism group. Let me find what I'm looking for. Let me. Oh, here we are. For months, I've wondered why hair-raising developments around Trump's NSPM7 haven't generated any mainstream media interest. We are deluged with a flood of stories practically every time someone from Trump and company farts, but we get almost nothing about their war on American terrorism, replacing the lone standing focus on groups like ISIS, which seems like a big story. Frustrating as this bill is, it doesn't affirm to me that I'm doing well. It doesn't. It does affirm to me that what I'm doing here matters. So I'll keep giving you the leaked documents and explaining what they mean, so you can make your own decision, even if they divulge from mine. If diverge from mine, I hope you'll enjoy me. Let me. Uh, I apologize. I think I went too far. I wanted to tell you what NSPM7 actually is, because it's not talked about much here, much on the media. Here, here, let me go to it right here. Let me find it. Trump's NSPM7 labels common beliefs as terrorism indicators. Indicators. Here we go. If you are not familiar with the mainstream media distracted by the made-for-TV drama of James Comey indictment, Trump has this came out in, when did this story break? September of 2025. And your mainstream media is still not telling you what your DOJ and your FBI is up to regarding you as a United States citizen practicing your own rights in America. While they want you to believe that 4547 is so upset that something would happen to people who are protesting their own government in Iran is worthy of us sending the military to Iran, when we know that Benjamin Netanyahu has told the president that he must strike Iran, that he must tear up the agreement that they had to inspect the uh, nuclear arsenal of Iran on a regular basis, and it was agreed to. But as soon as 4547 came in office in his first term, it was ripped apart. But they want you to believe like we going to war in Iran. We're spending all this blood, money, and lives over in Iran because we care about what's happening to their protesters. Okay, let me see. Trump has signed a little notice national security directive identifying anti Christian and anti American views as indicators of radical left violence. Called the National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, it is being referred to as NSPM 7 by administrator insiders. Now, this whoremonger is trying to have identifiers about people in the United States who are free to practice any religion. Isn't that why one of the reasons why they left England? So they can practice whatever religion that we wanted to practice freely or none at all. But now you hear from this administration that America is a Christian nation. Do you notice that you're hearing this now from the people in your administration? Do you understand that there is a national security directive that if you are identified not being if you are identified as being anti-Christian or anti-American, what is anti-American? What does that even mean? Who is to determine what this vague term of being anti American even means? But that is in a presidential memorandum that many of American citizens don't know shit about. Okay, let's see what else is in this memorandum. This is the first time in American history that there is an all of government efforts to dismantle left wing terrorism. Trump's Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller said, referring to the issuance. To the extent that major media noticed the directive at all, even C-SPAN incorrectly labeled in an executive order, like this week's designation of Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. So let's get into. It's hard to overstate how much different NSPM 7 is from the over 200 executive order Trump has frenetically signed since coming back into office. An executive order publicly lays out the course of day-to-day federal government operation, whereas a national security directive is a sweeping policy decree for defense, foreign policy, intelligence, and law enforcement apparatus. National security directives are often secret, but in this case, the Trump administration chose to publish the NSPM 7 only the 7th since he's come into office. Let me see. This is a copy of one that was released by, I think, President Carter. Was it Carter? This is an example that Jimmy of a NSPM of a directive that was publicly shown by Carter. Similarly, President George W. Bush signed a series of classified national security directives after 9/11, the most famous of which authorized the NSA's unlawful domestic intercepts, and a directive that wasn't publicly revealed until 4 years later. In NSPM 7, countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence, President Trump directs the Justice Department, the FBI, and other national security agencies and departments to fight his versions of political violence in America. Retooling a network of joint terrorism task force to focus on the leftist political violence in America. This vast counterterrorism army, made up of federal, state, and local agents, would, as Trump aide Stephen Miller said, the central hub of that effort. NSPM 7 directs new national security to disrupt any individual or groups that foment political violence, including before they result in potential violent political acts. So they're going to determine that even before you do anything violent, politically violent, they're going to determine that you were about to do something politically violent. So you are going to be on the hook for actually committing something politically violent. See, they can predetermine that you are going to do something violent. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that they're looking for people on the left while they're ignoring all of the people on the right who actually and factually have committed more political violence in the United States. More lives have been lost for the political violence on the right, but they're ignoring all of that. They've taken white nationalists off the top of the watch list and just took it off like it never happened. But they're pretending like all of this is on the left. But anyway, you don't even know. If you don't even know about the directive, I'm here to tell you about the directive. Think of it what you want to. NSPM 7 directs a new national strategy to disrupt any individual or groups that foment political violence, including before they result in violent political acts. In other words, they are targeting pre-crimes to reference The Minority Report. The Trump administration is only targeting organizations or groups, but even it is not isn't only targeting organizations or groups. Hold on, I apologize. But even individuals and entities whom the NSPM7 says can be identified by any of the following indicators of violence. Now, what are these indicators? Anti-Americanism. What is? Can somebody quickly tell me how can that be? I explain how many different ways it could as many people describe anti-Americanism. Can 50 people give me 500 reasons why what someone is doing is anti-American? Can there be one person who have 9 to 10 opinions of what is anti-American, and now we have a whole government saying that you can be held on a crime for anti-Americanism? Okay. Anti-capitalism. If you don't believe in capitalism, or if it is predetermined that you are anti-capitalist. Anti-Christianity. Anti-Christianity is punishable in this administration from a motherfucker who has had 3 wives and had the was dating the next wife while still married to the last wife. Anti-Christianity. They're gonna hold on, prosecute you for. Okay. Support for the overthrow of the United States government. What does that entail? Can anybody can it be said that any action that they deem that they don't like, they can say that you are trying to overthrow the United States government? If you are protesting your government, could they say you're trying to overthrow your government? But notice that these January 6th rioters who tried to prevent the certification of the election in 2020, they got a pardon from this president. So they weren't trying to overthrow the government of the United States on January 6th. You see how that works? Extremism on uh, migration. Extremism on race. Now, y'all know the new victims of race is the white man. The EEOC is telling all the you white victims to go in and fill out your claim for a discrimination on the job. So, what extremism on race do you think that they're speaking of? The white victimism. Okay, so extremism on gender, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family. This is in your NSPM7, National Security uh, Presidential Memorandum. Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on families. Like the man who has like what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids by 3 baby mamas. Would that be a hostility towards those who hold traditional views on family? Is that a traditional family? So, if you don't have a problem with somebody having 5 kids by 3 baby mamas, you are right, huh? Is that what that means? What is a traditional American view on family? But that isn't a government workup about if you have hostility towards a traditional American family. Huh? How that work? Who determines that? Your government is. Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on religion. What is a traditional American view on religion. I thought the traditional American view on religion is you practice whatever religion you choose to practice or not. So, what is this traditional American value on religion? Hmm? As this new administration tried to tell you that this is a Christian nation, as we have all of these Christian white nationalists coming up here telling you that you need to understand that slavery wasn't that bad. You need to understand that there is no black pastor or minister who is educated enough to read the Bible to you. So you black people in the United States need to go to a good old white pastor, like kind of like Pete Kegbreath pastor who told you that all slave owners weren't bad, you know, that type of shit. Okay. Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on morality. Morality. Um, who's going to determine that? Who's going to determine who holds traditional American views on morality? The same person who put Pete Kegbreath over our military? While we want to talk about morality, are the same people who are covering up the names of the co-defenders in the Epstein files? Are these the people? The Pam Bondi DOJ, the Pam Bimbo DOJ, the Kakai Patel FBI, are they going to determine this? The same cockeyed Patel who took his private jet to Italy and is chugging beers down with the American hockey team as 4547 house in Mar-a-Lago is being raided by someone with a gun and a gas can, and the Secret Service had to put down. Are these people who are going to judge us on our morality? That same Kakai Patel who talked so poorly about Chris Ray and his use of a private jet. But now it's discovered that he's used a private jet to go to the Winter Olympics and lied. And well, I don't know if it's a lie, but there is a public statement that he had business over there. And we see him in the locker room chugging down beers with his cockeyed and fat belly. Oh, and then if he had business over there, why did the FBI find it important enough to say, "Oh, well, for any personal parts of the trip, he will be repaying the government"? But they don't tell you what business he had over there. Since they decide to tell you he had business there, they could have simply said that. But that no, but they what they tell you, oh, well, anything other than his business, he's going to repay all of it. All of it. Repay all of it. Quit pissing on my leg and telling me it's raining. Okay. Okay. A pre-crime endeavor preventing attacks before they happen is core to the post 9/11 concept of counterterrorism itself. No longer satisfied to investigate acts of terrorism after the fact to bring terrorists to justice, the Bush administration adopted preemptive preempting overseas that led to aerial assassination by drones and special operations kill mission. Domestically, it led to a counterterrorism campaign whose hallmark was excessive and illegal government surveillance and the use of undercover agents and confidential human sources to trap and entrap would-be terrorists. Now with 4547 directive retooling the counter-terrorist apparatus to go after Americans at home. This means monitoring policing activities or speech as a investigative method to discover radicalism, contrary to other national security documents, all during the post Watergate era, NSPM 7 doesn't even mention the First Amendment or the fundamental rights of Americans to organize and protest. The focus on speech is evident throughout NSPM 7. The directive says that political violence is the result of organized campaigns that often begins with the left dehumanizing targets in an anonymous chat forums and in-person meetings, social media, and even educational institutions. So these are all of the places that you saw. He has a a story about how uh, ICE is investigating posts in Reddit. We know that ICE has a facial identifying qualities. We know that ICE has I do believe it. Yes, ICE has a contract to get Palantir software. We understand that ICE has a huge budget, bigger than some countries' military budget. And you think that this is for undocumented immigrants? Well, why are ICE agents taking pictures of Americans who are protesting and telling them in their face that you're going to be put in a database for domestic terrorists? They're saying it out loud. But I guess y'all didn't believe it when this came out. Okay, you're dehumanizing a target. How dare you say something about a target? You're dehumanizing them. To give a sense of how broad this formulation is, Trump earlier designation of Antifa as domestic terrorist group was accomplished by a White House fact sheet singling out people who celebrated Luigi Maggione and the killing of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last December. As I wrote at the time, this describes a lot of Americans. Trump's new national security memorandum also alludes to the Maggione, but adds to it even larger categories of potential targets. Now, I don't think this was signed after what happened to Charlie Kirk. NSPM 7 is fundamentally a law enforcement directive, and it dispenses with the complications of using the active military or the National Guard in pursuit of political violence. It directs the Department of Justice to focus the FBI approximately 200 Joint Terrorist Task Force to the new mission. The FBI network or task force comprised of over 4,000 members, including FBI personnel and task force officers from more than 500 states and local agencies and 50 federal agencies, including special agents, police officers, intelligence analysts, and surveillance technicians, first established in New York City in 1980 to system, systemize 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 FBI and NYPD cooperation. Today, they are task force around the country, including at least one in each of the FBI's 55 field officers. For Trump, the White House, the beauty of using an already existing network is that it bypasses congressional oversight and scrutiny as even obscures federal activities to governors and legislators at the state level. States, cities, local police have already signed memoranda of agreement with the feds to fight terrorism, and officers are already assigned as task force officers. See how that worked? Uh, see how that worked? Uh, Now, this was to fight domestic terrorism. Uh, Local police have already signed up for agreements with the feds to fight terrorism. This was meant to be terrorists coming into the country. not for American citizens. But they said, hey, we just gonna call it terrorism, and so we already uh, the framework in place, and we're just gonna call American citizens and behavior that we don't like from our citizens terrorism. So if you're not familiar with that, what else? NSP 7 says the Joint Terrorism Task Force shall investigate potential federal crimes relating to acts of recruiting, radicalizing persons for the purpose of potential violence, terror, or conspiracy against rights, and the violent deprivation of any citizen's rights. Isn't the whole NSPM 7 a violent deprivation of citizens' rights? It authorizes the Joint Terrorism Task Force to investigate individuals, organizations, and funders responsible for sponsor or otherwise aid and abet the principal actors engaging in the criminal conduct. You know those signs that 45, 47 says that protesters, they have professionals and they are financed. These people are these alleged people who create signs for a protest are people who are aiding and abetting. The Attorney General issues specific guidelines that ensures domestic terrorism priorities, including potential and motivated terrorist acts such as organized doxing campaigns. You know, the organized doxing that J.D. Vance told you that you should do if you found a statement that uh, against Charlie Kirk, that they felt that was against Charlie Kirk after the death of Charlie Kirk. He said that those people should be doxxed if you find a statement. Your president, your vice president came out and told you that if you read a comment on the internet of somebody, that person that was disagreeable or said something unflattering after the death of Charlie Kirk, your vice president told you that that person should be doxxed. But curiously, in this NSPM 7, the Attorney General shall issue specific guidance that ensures domestic terrorism priorities, including uh, politically motivated terrorist act such as organized doxing campaigns. Uh, so, is the vice president gonna be arrested? No, such as organized doxing campaigns, swatting, rioting, looting, trespass, assault, destruction of property, threats of violence, and civil disorder. NSP NSPM 7 says civil disorder. What is civil disorder? Isn't all of these things already? Aren't all of these things already uh, against the law? Swatting, rioting, looting, trespass, assault, destruction of property, threats of violence. Aren't all of these things already against the law? Okay. I don't want to sound hyperbolic, but the plain truth is that NSPM 7 is a declaration of war on anyone who does not support the Trump administration and its agenda. Yes, it repeats the word violent over and over to purport only to go after citizens who are moved to take up arms, but it also directs monitoring and intelligence collection to map and target the new evildoers, to borrow a Bush label he took from the Bible just days after 9/11. The real problem is this: since Charlie Kirk was murdered, a friend of mine uh, assassinated. Nothing changed on their side. White House counterterrorism czar Sebastian Gorkin told Newsmax after NSPM 7 was signed. Not one leader, not one left lean thought leader, member of Congress, senator, nobody has said we distance ourselves from the violent rhetoric, which was a full lie. Uh, the left refuses to rid themselves of the justification for violence, Gorka continued, as And as such, President Trump is taking measures to protect us from the violent rhetoric that becomes snipers and bullets. So all of this was protect the United States from the left. Do you find it quite curious that this weekend that there was a shooter that showed up in 4547 Mar-a-Lago home, a Trump supporter, a whole magnet showed up and they unalived him. He had a shotgun and a gas can, and when they told him to reportedly when they told him to put the shotgun down, he raised it up at a shooting level. Did that surprise you? Thank you, very Carrie. I wasn't even looking at the chat. He was right. He was right. He was a right wing nut job. Much like all three of the right wing nut jobs who came after 4547. Don't do not come in my chat lying. Don't come in my chat lying. Okay. So, Very Carrie, I left you a message. Did you get it? So, if you didn't see the start of my other video, go check it out. I am going backwards in this video. Let me reiterate a couple of points that I did want to reiterate. Let me see. What else did I want to reiterate in this video? Netanyahu for 33 years. Netanyahu for the past 33 years saying that Iran is on the verge of creating a nuclear bomb. Conveniently, when they were being inspected by when they were being inspected, none of this. He was not able to say any of this. And conveniently, when 4547 went into office, he did exactly what he was told to do from his boss, Netanyahu, was to tear up the sanctions.
4. Iran has never given up its quest for nuclear
To tear up the nuclear agreement, I'm sorry.
weapons and the missiles to deliver them.
That's because Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been saying this for more than 30 years, claiming Iran is close to having
Nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons. Atomic bombs.
In 1992, as a member of parliament, Netanyahu addresses the Knesset. He says, within 3 to 5 years, we can assume that Iran will become autonomous in its ability to develop and produce a nuclear bomb. 3 years later, in his book Fighting Terrorism, he repeats the same time frame, 3 to 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Fast forward to 2002. Netanyahu testifies before a U.S. congressional committee actively calling for the invasion of Iraq.
Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
The two nations that are vying, competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran.
The invasion happens months later. No weapons of mass destruction are found in Iraq. This is a fragment of a 2009 U.S. State Department cable released by WikiLeaks. Netanyahu tells members of Congress that Iran is 1 or 2 years away from being capable of developing nuclear weapons.
They're online.
It's 2012, and Netanyahu is holding up his infamous cartoon bomb at the UN General Assembly.
By next spring, at most by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks, before they get enough enriched uranium for the first bomb.
And now, 33 years after Netanyahu's first so-called imminent warning, Israel attacks Iran.
And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year.
That's despite the US Director of National Intelligence saying Iran isn't building a nuclear weapon months earlier.
Iran lied.
But for Netanyahu,
Big time.
the slogan has been the same for decades. Dmitry Medvedenko, Al Jazeera.
Now, this is before, let me make sure my mic is on. This is before the United States followed Israel in striking Iran in June, which Ken Klippenstein said was about to happen in March. Now, here is something else. That I wanted to share with you.
It is its policy, and which
here in our own government. Considerations cannot be conducted by poll. Let's take a listen to that. We'll get your reaction and get into all the details.
How much does it matter what Americans think?
Well, it matters every bit what Americans think. That's why Americans vote. It's why Americans have the opportunity.
Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to Israel. Let's get into this.
Opportunity to have free speech. We want them to have that.
Okay, so what percentage of Americans support a war with Iran?
I don't know. Do you know?
I do. I think it's around.
Well, it matters every bit what Americans.
On brains, they do matter somewhat, but also policy considerations cannot be conducted by poll. Let's take a listen to that. We'll get your reaction and get into all the details.
How much does it matter what Americans think?
Well, it matters every bit what Americans think. That's why Americans vote. It's why Americans have the opportunity to have free speech. We want them to have that.
Okay, so what percent?
So we vote. We vote for a government that we want to represent us in our interests. Is that why we vote? That's kind of like taking a poll. We decide on what is best interest or what we agree on the most. If it's a post on agreements, we vote on what we disagree with the most. If it's a poll to determine what we don't agree with, that's what voting is, a big poll. So he said it's very important. That's what he said.
How much of Americans support a war with Iran?
I don't think. That's why Americans vote. It's why Americans have the opportunity to have free speech. We want them to have that.
Okay, so what percentage of Americans support a war with Iran?
I don't know. Do you know?
I do. I think it's around, I saw the numbers yesterday. I think it was like 21%.
Okay.
Is that enough to have a war with Iran?
We don't live in a world where you have a poll taken to find out whether our policy should be a particular direction. Because
I thought
we don't live in a world where we have a poll taken where we determine what our policy is going to be. No, we have that big poll that we have voting that determines what policy based upon the person who's running, who puts out their policy agenda. And that big poll, that's called the voting booth. That is the big poll that we have to determine what policy. So with the understanding that the vast amount of Americans are against this strike that Israel is insisting that we take on Iran. He says that it is not up to you and your voting. Once you put these charlatans in office, they can do whatever they want to do as they rob the U.S. Treasury blind.
I thought you just said that
that's
we
direct
vote.
Democracy. No, we care deeply about it. But on the other hand, do we make the decisions of foreign policy and even domestic policy based on
we
what
care
the
deeply
latest
about
poll
it in
number
what
is?
sense?
So we don't actually care about it, Professor. So our very own interests and thoughts on the matter don't appear in our own government. Just give us your general reaction here to the ambassador, potential now war with Iran, and the destabilization to our world order.
Well, in general, Huckabee should resign immediately, not for the segment that you played, but for the segment that if Israel takes over much of the Middle East, that's just fine. The United States government should immediately repudiate what he said. I think that every Arab nation in the Middle East that has been subject to Israeli-U.S. war since Netanyahu came to office in the mid-1990s should call in the U.S. ambassador immediately and ask if this is U.S. policy. By the way, it may well be U.S. policy because U.S. policy is dictated by the Zionist lobby. And this is not an outrageous statement. This is a literal statement. This is, and Huckabee, by the way, is a core part of that lobby. He is essential Christian Zionist biblical fundamentalist who wants to determine American policy not by what Americans think, not by international law, not by American security, but by his reading of a biblical passage from 2,500 years ago. The man needs to leave his job immediately. He's a disgrace. Yes. But worse than that, what he said needs to be repudiated by the United States government immediately. Is that our policy? If it is our policy, state it so, then the American people won't know that we are led by the most dangerous kind of delusion imaginable. If that is not our policy, state it that it is not our policy.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and put the latest New York Times reporting up here on the screen about whether or not we are headed to war with Iran. Their attempt to divine the latest thinking from Trump. The headline here, Trump considers targeted strike against Iran, followed by a larger attack. So I guess we're in for two wars instead of one now. They say in part here, President Trump has told advisors if diplomacy or any initial targeted U.S. attack does not lead Iran to give in to his demands that it give up its nuclear program, he'll consider a much bigger attack in coming months, intended to drive that country's leaders from power, people briefed on internal administration deliberations said. In addition, in this article, they lay out one potential proposal to allow Iran to have some limited enrichment program for purposes of research alone. And they're sort of holding this out like maybe that would be face-saving for both the Iranians and the Americans. You know, what is your sense of how real this diplomacy is and how likely we are to be headed back into war with Iran?
Again, this is like being in a delusional dream world. Iran has said that it does not want a nuclear weapon, and it has said so for decades, and it has negotiated in that point for decades. And everybody watching should appreciate that an agreement was reached in 2015 called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, which was reached in 2015 and unanimously adopted by the United Nations Security Council. It's an agreement of the P5, the permanent 5 members of the Security Council, the United States, Britain, France, Russia, and China, plus Germany, in which the International Atomic Agency would rigorously monitor any activities of Iran's nuclear program to ensure that there was no nuclear weapons program, exactly what Iran has said that it is its policy and which agreed to rigorous monitoring. Now, what happened? Well, Trump, because he is a pawn of Netanyahu, ripped it up when he came into office. Trump,
when he came into office in his first administration, not this administration, he ripped it up in his first administration. Why did he do that? Why did he do the bidding of Benjamin Netanyahu when the agreement that was agreed upon by all of these nations and the UN was working? And now why are they acting taking the word as if Netanyahu, what he said is his word is bond, when he's been saying the same shit for 33 years. Why are we find ourselves in March going talking about we're going back to make sure Iran can proliferate a weapon in March of 2026 when we just struck them in June of 2025, where your president told you that they had obliterated their nuclear capabilities? Make any of this make sense? What is it costing 4547? It ain't costing him nothing because 4547 has on two occasions says that he's taking 10 billion out of the United States Treasury that he will have control over. One is going to be paid to him for his tax returns being released. The other 10 billion is for this bogus ass peace board, or where he will have control of the money, where only oligarchs and tyrannical countries are joining, and they only have to pay 1 billion. If he's over the peace board, why does he in the United States taxpayer have to pay 10 billion to get into this janky ass bullshit, but these other tyrannical governments only have to pay 1 billion? Huh? Make any of this make sense? Because he knows he can just go into the United States coffers and take the money, because nobody is putting his ass up on crimes for the criminal ass shit, in my opinion, that he's doing. Okay, all of these links are in the description box under war with Iran. Let's get into the money thing. How let's get into the ease in which 4547 is stealing money, in my opinion. Let's talk about the money.
Sir, Senator Gallego.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Secretary Besson, thank you again for being here today. We kind of touched on this earlier. In addition to being Treasury Secretary, you are serving as acting director of the IRS. So following up on Senator Kim's questioning, so you are fully aware that the president is suing your agency for $10 billion.
Yeah.
We would agree. Would you agree that $10 billion is a good sum of money?
Yes, sir.
Where would that be cut from? Let's say for some reason he actually wins that lawsuit. Where would that $10 billion come from?
Again, it would come from
process-wise. I'm not asking like your opinion whether it's right or wrong.
It would come from Treasury.
It comes from Treasury, which comes from the general fund?
The Treasury general account.
So taxpayers?
Yes.
Thank you.
Part of the 440,000 taxpayers whose returns were leaked.
If the president, they're not suing, but if the president prevails in this lawsuit.
Part of the 420 taxpayers whose tax forms were released, well, they're not suing for $10 billion. He, of the 421,000 taxpayers forms were released, it's the only one suing the government and the taxpayer for $10 billion. Are we clear on that? It just didn't happen to him alone.
He's going. Thank you.
Part of the 440,000 taxpayers whose returns were leaked.
If the president, they're not suing, but if the president prevails in this lawsuit, he's going to be able to pocket that money. My question is the president, has anyone in the president's office talked to you about this lawsuit in any regard?
They have not, and the president has said he will donate the proceeds to charity. You may have missed that.
So no.
No, well, we didn't miss that. You may have, he will donate the money. Charity starts at home. That's where charity starts. Charity starts at home. That's we are to believe that he will donate it to a charity. This is the same motherfucker who gave to charity and took it out of his Trump Foundation charity when he gave to charity. He went to the Trump charity foundation and wrote checks and gave gifts out of his own charity foundation as charity, which made him have to actually close his fake charity foundation down. Who you think you're talking to, Scott Besson? Anyway, let's continue.
No one at all has discussed this to you whatsoever.
No, sir. And the president said he will.
Have you received? I didn't ask any more questions. Have you received any advice from Treasury's legal division about how to handle this potential conflict?
This is a Justice Department matter. They represent Treasury in it.
Have someone from the Department of Justice actually come and talk to you, saying that this is their purview and you need to stay out of it, or who has discussed to you what is your role in this?
Our general counsel, who's sitting behind me, has told me that it is a Justice Department matter. The Justice Department defends Treasury in matters like this.
Okay, so it has been discussed with you. Do you have any final say at all in the process of this, or is the DOJ just going to instruct you to cut a check and or settle, and you have no independence to actually make a decision whether or not the president deserves $10 billion?
Again, that is a DOJ matter.
And so the DOJ will entirely make that decision if and whether or not the president should receive $10 billion. You have no say at all.
Correct.
So you will just have to write the check if you were told to write the check.
Correct.
And you would write the check willingly if you're told by a DOJ to the president.
I will follow the law, Senator.
Okay. I mean, I think for many of us, this is very simple. And I think if this had been happening in any other countries, it would look an absolute, like a total shakedown of the American taxpayer. Are you also aware that President Trump has filed claims seeking $230 million from the Justice Department for investigations conducted during his previous candidacy?
I'm unaware of the cumulative number.
Okay. So if the president wins or settles these claims, that money will come also from the Treasury Judgment Fund, which you do control. Have you recused yourself from any decisions about paying the president on these claims?
Again, I'll follow the law, and I'm not involved with any of this. It stems from justice.
So even though the Treasury Judgment Fund is called the Treasury Judgment Fund, you have no control over the Treasury Judgment Fund?
We act as paymaster.
So you will sign it then?
Sorry?
You will sign the check then? If you're a paymaster, you'd be the person's signature is to the Treasury Judgment Fund?
I would assume it would be a wire transfer.
Oh, I'm so pleased with myself. I assume it would be a wire transfer. Oh, let me make a little smug grin. Oh, who does checks anymore? We just wouldn't it be a Bitcoin? Oh, I would assume it would be untraceable Bitcoin. Oh, but we have not robbed the Treasury and filled it up with this useless Bitcoin yet. Coming soon.
Is to the Treasury Judgment Fund.
I would assume it would be a wire transfer.
Yes, I assume we're not that old school.
Yep.
But that being said, so you have no say in this whatsoever. You will only basically follow what the DOJ says, but you're the person that actually is the final person that pushes send essentially on the wire transfer.
Yes.
And even if you feel or that it is unjust, the fact that this president is basically plundering U.S. taxpayer dollars, you will still hit that send button.
Even if I believe that 6103, the IRS tax code, was violated and 440,000 taxpayers were leaked.
So back to this other thing. So now do you believe, though, I mean, do you understand why some of us see a problem with that? And let me ask just a very simple question. Do you work for the President of the United States?
I work for the American people.
So can the president fire you?
He can.
He can fire you, correct?
Yes.
So isn't it a conflict of interest that you're going to be making these decisions and the president has full power over you?
I think you're confused, Senator. I am not part of the decision.
Well, you're certainly a person that send on the wire transfer, and I think that's why there's a lot of people that are actually do not trust the president's actually looking at his best interest. I'm controlling the time here. I'm controlling that. You're not obeying the law. You're plundering U.S. taxpayer dollars. Plundering U.S. taxpayer dollars. Plundering taxpayer dollars. Plundering. Thank you. You'll back.
Help me out here. My understanding is the Trump administration has, I think, 13 billionaires in office right now, leading government agencies. Is that about right, do you think?
I have no idea, Senator.
I think that's what the number is. Do you think it's a coincidence, given the large number of billionaires in the Trump administration, that this particular piece of legislation would provide $235 billion in tax breaks to the top 0.2% by expanding the exemptions in the estate tax?
Senator, I will tell you that when the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act passed, my tax rate went up.
Well, I don't know your exact situation, but I can tell you. Tell me about how many people do you think are in the top 0.2%?
Sorry?
Number of people in the top 0.2% who would benefit from this particular $235 billion.
Well, I know the top 10% is now paying 7%.
That's not the question.
Of the total tax.
My question is, why do you think at a time of unprecedented income and wealth inequality, when people like yourself economically have never ever had it so good, why do you think it's a good idea to cut Medicaid for low-income and working-class people by $700 billion, to give $235 billion in tax breaks to the very, very, very richest people in this country, perhaps a few hundred families? Please justify that and tell me about that.
Well, Senator, I don't know, but the Democrats had the trifecta, and there was no tax increase or wealth tax on billionaires. You choose.
I'm not talking about a tax.
You chose not to do that.
Mr. Besson, I am not talking about a wealth tax. Explain. A few hundred of the wealthiest families in this country, $235 billion tax break. Explain to the American people why you think that's a great idea.
I think that this will increase small businesses substantially. That most small businesses, they are...
Has zero to do with, come on, you're smarter than that. This is the top 0.2%. This is not a mom and pop store. These are multi-billionaires, and the savings go to their kids after they pass away. This is nothing more than a gift to billionaires in this country.
Well, sir, that's just not correct, because the top 10% paid a bigger share of taxes after TC.
I'm talking about one provision in this. I don't want to argue with you about taxes in general. One provision, few hundred families, $235 billion in tax breaks. You can't justify that because morally it is totally unjustifiable. Let me ask you another question. If you guys want to cut $1 trillion in Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, the estimate from CBO, I believe, is that over 15 million people lose their health insurance. Yale University and the University of Pennsylvania estimated that when you throw that many low-income and working-class people off of health care, some 50,000 people a year will die. Tell me why you think it's a good idea to give tax breaks to billionaires and allow 50,000 low-income and working-class people to die unnecessarily?
Senator, first of all, that's overstated by 5.1 million. That is not attributed to this bill. It is simply...
It's a combination, that's true.
No. You all had a scheduled expiration of Obamacare subsidies, and you did not extend that when you were in charge. 5.1 million, 1.4 million illegal aliens on Medicaid.
All right, look,
and there are work requirements. And our goal is to get more money to children and others.
Really? Your goal is to get more money to children, and working people. Really, come on. Do you know how many people, and I was surprised to hear this, I don't know if you know it or not, how many people lose their jobs every year, quit, or get fired or whatever? Do you have any idea?
Well, there's something called the quits rate, and so when the job market is strong, more people quit.
But yeah, I was surprised that I just researched this. I don't know. Do you happen to know?
I don't know the number.
I was surprised. Would it be shocking to you? It was to me. 20 million people leave their jobs a year. Doesn't shock you, right? It's a big labor force, right?
Yep.
So somebody leaves the job, maybe they move, maybe something happens in their lives, right? We have a lot of transition in the labor market, correct?
Maybe they get a better job.
Right, exactly, maybe they do. Or maybe they have to stay home, their wife gets sick, whatever, we don't know. But 20 million people lose their jobs in a given year, leave their jobs in a given year. Are those people lazy? What happens when I leave my job and maybe I have to move to another state to take care of my ill mother, and I desperately need Medicaid? Am I too lazy now to be able to get Medicaid?
I think that's a mischaracterization of the work requirement.
Really? Well, I'm not quite so sure it is. I don't. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
I want to ask about the Republican big, beautiful bill, which will knock about 16 million people off their health care coverage and cut programs that keep groceries cheaper for millions of families in order to try to pay for about $4 trillion in tax giveaways that are mostly going to be sucked up by millionaires, billionaires, and wealthy corporations. So, Mr. Besson, Secretary Besson, I'd like to start with a very simple question. Will this bill increase or decrease the deficit?
They're varying scoring on that.
There's no varying scoring on none of this shit. This shit is expected to increase the deficit. So he's such a big, bad liar.
Now, you're the Secretary of the Treasury, so I'm asking you, what is your view? Will this bill increase or decrease the deficit?
It is my view that over the 10-year window, it will decrease.
Lie.
You know, do you have anybody who agrees with you on this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask my question.
Okay.
Every credible independent expert agrees that Trump and the Republicans' big, beautiful bill would add trillions of dollars to the national debt and would not even come close to paying for itself. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, the Penn-Wharton budget model, and the Yale Budget Lab all agree on this, and they're looking at 10-year windows, thank you. So do the Conservative Tax Foundation and Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, conservative groups. Even Elon Musk and the Wall Street Journal are criticizing the bill for ballooning the national debt. The only people who are saying publicly that it's not going to add to the national debt are you, Donald Trump, the Republicans in Congress. Do you have an independent group that has put forward numbers that disagrees with all of these conservative groups and disagrees with the Wall Street Journal on this?
Well, Senator, interesting to see you aligned with Elon Musk, but if I add...
You're no more shocked than I am.
If we want to take the full congressional budget scoring, they predict, and I don't agree with their methodology, they predict a $2.4 trillion deficit. But
okay, so the answer to the question is yes.
No, but may I finish? They include that, but they've also scored $2.8 trillion in tariff income. So even in Washington, D.C. math,
okay, so,
in Washington, D.C. math, that is a $400 billion surplus.
Okay, so let me make
sure. Sir, the tariffs have been ruled illegal. You knew they were illegal when you put them. So you want to add the tariff to savings that are not in this big bloated bill. So now the tariffs are all encompassing any problem that we have. The tariffs are going to fix when the tariffs are illegal. But now, look how easily he said that, hey, the tariffs will take care of the deficit. But now when the tariffs are illegal, they can't easily move the money back to the consumer, the 70% of the tariffs that were paid by American people and the 30% that was paid by American corporations. They said it's going to take, we're going to be in court forever trying to figure that out, or we're going to be in court for years, 5 years. They can't easily figure it out when it's time to get the money back to you, even though your lying president said that they took in so much money with these illegal tariffs that when you file your taxes, you're going to get a little stipend, a little incentive. You are going to get a little interest payment because they took in so much tariffs last year. All right, guys. Please go back and review. wait a minute. Please go back and review my last. Uh, Go back and review my last video. I don't know what happened with my streaming of my video earlier today. I had been live a little while earlier today. Let me share a couple of things with you about money again, since I was talking about how 4547 is breaking our economy. I want to be sure that I share all of my notes.
United States government, transferring it to his Board of Peace. He will completely control this $10 billion slush fund in a way that critics have called it. And well, here's the kicker. It's actually probably illegal for him to do it because Congress appropriates funds for specific programs for specific reasons. The president can't just decide, well, today I'm going to take $10 billion and fund something else. Congress didn't fund the Board of Peace, and so Donald Trump can't decide to take $10 billion that Congress appropriated and put it towards his Board of Peace. But it looks like he's about to do it anyway. Spread the word. Follow for more. We have some news right now. Donald Trump has announced that he will be transferring $10 billion from the United States government to fund his new Board of Peace. That $10 billion is your taxpayer dollars that you paid in. And guess what? Guess who controls the money of the Board of Peace? The chairman of the Board of Peace. Guess who the chairman of the Board of Peace is? Donald Trump. You guessed it correct.
Okay, that link is in my description box under the U.S. is being robbed. Let's talk about, real quick, let's talk about the state of the dollar. Since I talked about the dollar as well. Hold on, I don't think I'm sharing this. Oh my goodness. Let me, I thought I was sharing it. Let me share this right quick. I'm sitting up here looking at it like, why does it look odd? It looks odd because you're not sharing it. Here we go.
US loses control of countries using the reserve currency wants a weaker dollar because he believes it will help US companies export more to the world. But he's also trying to maintain global hegemony throughout the US dollar system. And if the US loses control of countries using the reserve currency, they will lose the power to sanction everyone. Just recall what Marco Rubio said 2 years ago.
Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them.
However, to ensure
So Marco Rubio just discovered what's going on with the BRICS. And that is exactly what's going on. It's no mystery. Marco Rubio, you haven't struck up on anything profound.
that the world continues to hold the dollar as an asset, you need it to be strong. You can't afford to let the value collapse. Holders of US stocks and bonds won't see the point of holding them. What's the point? It's pointless if you buy a 10-year treasury at a 4% yield. You get destroyed by inflation, which is way higher than the official number of 2.5%. Secondly, a further dollar collapse.
And that is exactly what's going on in the United States now. Other countries who would always be buying up bonds when other markets were jittery, they're not buying U.S. bonds either. No other countries are investing in U.S. bonds because they know that the U.S. economy is fucked and is only looking at forthcoming inflation, and their bonds will be worthless. If you're unaware of that, hey, I'm just giving you the information. Do with it as you please. You can shop some of these things that are popping up in my box for to shop for, or you can give your super you can super Cash App, Super Chat, motherfuckers who are begging you for shit that they should be buying out of their own pocket. Or you can be looking out for yourself in your future. You can be making sure that you have some type of power, some type of generator, some type of way to clean your water, some type of emergency in emergency food, emergency kit for yourselves. Because while you guys think that it's milk and honey out here, times are a lot of people are ignoring the times that are right in front of them. So it's like they always say, better safe than sorry. Only a fool don't look out for themselves. So I have a couple of items on that you may want to shop. That Bluetify generators. They come in many sizes, many prices. To be able to make sure that you take care of yourself and your home. Uh, because some people won't even buy themselves a cup of coffee. They expect you to buy it for them. Okay, so that's all I got.
Hurts all investors here. If you're a foreigner, if the dollar crashes by 4%, even your nominal returns are zero. As an American, import will now cost more, cost of living crisis gets worse, it's a double whammy. Now, fund managers are betting against the dollar. They believe it's going to crash even further. The dollar is down by 1.3% this year and crashed 9% in 2025. And according to Bank of America, professional money is leaving the dollar. Exposures have been cut to a 10-year low. Wall Street can sense the reserve currency breaking, and it's imperative we see the signs ahead. Everyone is too used to the narrative of US markets being exceptional, but all that was dependent on the old world order which Trump is actively trying to break down and reshape. The old days of globalization where countries would recycle their money back into US bonds, those days are more or less over. Rubio has made it crystal clear that the US is now going inwards and trying to drag Europe into a grand splitting of the world.
And finally, we can no longer place the so-called global order above the vital interests of our people and our nations. We do not need to abandon the system of international cooperation we authored, and we don't need to dismantle the global institutions of the old order that together we built. But these must be reformed. These must be rebuilt.
Now, during his speech, we saw many people in the audience giving him a standing ovation, which is terrifying, it's disturbing. His appeal to nostalgia of empire building does have some takers here, but therein lies the problem. Even if Europe joins the US, it would still be a global split. Essentially, the US and the EU versus BRICS. It's still going to cost a lot of money, with the US spending the most. You'll be stuck trying to rejig supply chains for the West that will cost hundreds of billions or even trillions over the next decade. Europe is broke, so the US will still have to bear the majority of the cost here. Besson will have to ramp up borrowing to new insane levels, and that could result in higher for longer bond yields and a weaker dollar down the road. Investors are already starting to react to this. In the first 40 days of the year, investors are allocating their money away from the US. American equities drew in only $25 billion in investments, but international markets grabbed over $100 billion away from the US. We aren't counting the money entering emerging markets. If we count in the investments going into Chinese stocks, the difference will be even more shocking. Global money is really preempting a weaker dollar going forward. The US will need to choose between maintaining the current financial order or debasing the currency to rebuild the Western order. You simply can't have both here. Now, I'm in the camp where the US will sacrifice the currency to maintain the empire. or whatever is left of it. And whether that's possible is a whole different discussion, but they're going to try. It does.
So they're gonna have to sacrifice their currency, or or are they gonna sacrifice trying to be a superpower? They I think it is very clear that the only power that this MAGA Make America God Awful Again people care about is making it appear that
Wow. So
45,
Donald Trump is absolutely
47 is all powerful. So let's see what's happening. Since it has been deemed that the tariffs are unlawful, let's see how these 90 deals in 90 days that trade agreements are holding up. Shall we?
getting crushed today, and this time it's in Europe. Check out this. EU set to halt U.S. trade deal approval over Trump tariff risk. Yes, you heard that correctly. Halt U.S. trade deal approval. This is coming in from Bloomberg just a few minutes ago, and now it says the European Union is poised to freeze the ratification process of its trade deal with the U.S. and is seeking more details from President Donald J. Trump's administration on its new tariff program. This is more of the language. We're talking about suspending legislative work on approving the deal. Another language is we have no other option but to delay the approval process to seek clarity on the situation.
India has also bowed out of their deal. India was supposed to be meeting with 45, 47 either this week or next week. They're not even coming to meet with 45, 47. It was like, fuck you. Fuck you. Now, what is it? Is it? I think it is. Now, let's understand that Russia, I can stop the war in one day. Vladimir is my friend. Let's roll out the red carpet for Vladimir. India was buying oil from, Russia was buying oil from India. Now, that was interfering with them being able to say that they were going to stop the war in Ukraine. So it seems like 45, 47 is not happy with Russia buying oil from India. So, you know what 45, 47 has to surmise is, well, you know what? I am going to take this oil from Venezuela, the oil that I'm getting from Venezuela, and I'm going to sell it to India. And I'm going to charge them these high tariffs on everything that I'm trading with them and stuff. And India's like, fuck you. India's like, fuck you. And then when I get the money from India, am I going to pay down the American deficit? No, I'm going to put it in an offshore account in Qatar. And I'm going to take billions of dollars out of the U.S. Treasury because no one's saying a word. As I ruin the American finance and fucking rules and laws and protections and allies. No one's saying a word.
Basically, what they're going to do is slow walk this. Absolutely, 100%. They are. Same way that India is. India is like, okay, we're not going to meet with you. That meeting is off, but we'll find a mutual beneficial time in the future when it could be convenient. And someone was saying, in sort of like the language that they use, the exact language though is, I guess among Indian government, when you say that kind of stuff, it could be like a really long time. And I think for this kind of stuff, the way that the Europe's talking, what you can do, you just can keep sort of piling on, questions that you need answered and paperwork and this kind of stuff. You just slow walk it, right? And this is actually a major thing because you can see here is a big trading partner to the U.S. It says EU is the biggest source of U.S. Imports, and the European Union, Mexico, Canada, and China. You can see these are all the major countries that the U.S. trades with. When you look over to the White House, they're off in Delulu land. It says here from the White House, can't stop winning Trump then says, we're winning too much. It's just not fair. President DJT certainly doesn't feel like that again when India is canceling on you, and so is Europe, apparently. This is coming from the European Commission. They say, we request full clarity on the steps the United States intends to take following the recent Supreme Court ruling on the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. So the Supreme Court rules against Trump, right? It's all illegal. They call this thing IEP, actually, the Powers Act thing. And then it says EU companies and exporters must have fair treatment, predictability, and legal certainty. Because why would you want to do business or any sort of deal with Trump when everything he's doing is illegal, right? Or he could change his mind from one day to the next, tweet out something at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's just someone you can't do business with. And I said, who else is next? It looks like the UK is in this also. Europe hits back at, quote, pure tariff chaos from the US, warning trade deals are at risk. This was actually in The Guardian today, and you can read it here. Confusion in UK and EU as Trump's 15% global tariff creates, quote, an unholy mess. An unholy mess. So that's the talk of the town is, what is going on in the US, basically? It's an unholy mess. Time to just halt, freeze, whatever you got to do. It's not worth doing business with the U.S. at the moment. This is actually one of the trade people over in the EU, Maros Sokovic. He says, pleased to once again welcome Minister Nick Torfain as part of our regular exchanges in preparation of a successful EU-UK summit later this year. We took stock on the ongoing negotiations to further advance our cooperation. And they were just tweeting this out just a few minutes ago, right after the halting of the EU approval of, whatever US deal they were going for. And I don't think this is by mistake that you're now saying, hey, we're pulling back from the USA and we're getting closer to UK. Now, does that mean UK is going to be like, hey, for trade, let's roll back Brexit, that kind of stuff? I don't necessarily think it's going to be like that. That's a really hot button issue in UK. Can you, don't you guys call it regret Brexit or regretskit? I think is how you say it. But this is, significant that you are opening up relationships there. You check in on France. Over there, they're talking about trade bazookas and such. No, for real. France says EU has the tools to hit back at Trump over tariffs. And then this is where it says here, French officials said it was too early to speculate on an EU response, but options included the trade bazooka. That's what they've been calling this thing. An anti-coercion instrument, ACI, that could affect U.S. technology companies. So you could throw a whole bunch of regulations, tax issues. In particular, for example, you could do tons of fines on Elon Musk company for, hey, you're undressing people.
Now, speaking of fines, France is already has raided Elon Musk's offices. They have accused him of election interference. And speaking of election interference in France, this link is in my description box. I want to share this.
Here's some big news. There's been reporting now out that Elon Musk has committed voter fraud. That's right. Republicans have been looking for election fraud. Donald Trump says the elections were rigged. And of course, it is them who are doing it. We also have here a Trump fan raging at Donald Trump, and James Tallarico, the Senate candidate in Texas, going viral for the best reasons. Let's get to this guy first. I'll let Harry Sisson take it from here.
Fan rage and completely abandon Donald Trump over his tariffs being deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court has ruled that Trump's tariffs are unconstitutional. Golden age update, guys. We've got nothing. We might have to pay back $150 billion to other countries and nations and businesses. Meanwhile, the American people have been screwed this entire time as prices have went up on the tariffs, and now it's been ruled unconstitutional. Well, we may be having to pay it back. This administration's a joke. It's over. This administration is an absolute travesty.
And this is a MAGA, Make America God Awful. Again, he still thinks that we would have to pay back other countries because he thinks that other countries were paying of the tariffs. He never once says that we are going to get our money back from the tariffs that cause our prices to go up, because he's an idiot. I don't even know why he's paying him. But the MAGA, and even though he has most of the shit that he's talking wrong, he doesn't understand how MAGA was robbing him. He's worried about paying back other people, but he's not worried about getting his own money back. A dumb MAGA voter.
We've got nothing. No mass deportations. We've got no actual release of the Epstein files. So many more to go. We have no tariffs. They're unconstitutional now. So everything you voted for is a complete lie.
Man, I love when I come across videos like this. MAGA fans finally realizing the truth that Donald Trump is a complete fraud, a total failure, and he's backtracking on all of the promises he made to them. I gotta be honest, I don't know why this thing in particular is the one that pushed him over the edge as opposed to Donald Trump's many other scandals or failures, but he's not happy. Trump's term has been a complete disaster. His fans are even admitting it, and I expect to see more videos like this as his term goes on.
This is definitely just the tip of the iceberg. I know for sure that the temperature is breaking on Trump and MAGA, and the fact that everything Donald Trump campaigned on has not happened is not sitting right with MAGA, especially the Epstein stuff. And meanwhile, they're seeing prices remain high and see Donald Trump and his buddies make more money than ever. That is not going to be able to hold. It's not going to be able to hold. Now, another thing that has happened is that Elon Musk was caught committing voter fraud in Georgia. You might remember that Donald Trump sent the FBI and Tulsi Gabbard a couple of weeks ago to Fulton County to find election fraud. They actually stole ballots in order to create evidence that doesn't exist to show that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. Meanwhile, we have actual evidence of Elon Musk doing that. Here's a report. Members of the Georgia State Elections Board voted Wednesday to issue a formal letter of reprimand to Musk's America PAC over the billionaire technocrats' illegal scheme to get Trump elected. Georgia, a key battleground state in 2024, was the target of aggressive campaigning by Trump's team. In October 2024, the Georgia Secretary of State's office launched an investigation after receiving numerous reports from residents across several counties saying they'd received partially pre-filled absentee ballot applications from Musk America PAC, according to John Ferber, the State Elections Board chairman. Now, there was evidence to suggest America PAC had violated a state law that prohibits any person or entity other than an authorized relative to send an elector to absentee ballot application pre-filled with the elector's required information, according to Janice Johnson, the SEB's vice chairman. America PAC had also failed to display in a conspicuous location that this was not an official government publication, was not provided by the government, and was not a ballot. The board swiftly voted to issue a letter of reprimand to America PAC. That's what we're getting, a letter of reprimand. This letter comes weeks after I said about the federal raid, and it should come as no surprise with Donald Trump's election meddling in 2020. I mean, I guess it's good that we have discovered what we all knew to be true, that Elon Musk tried to steal an election. And though I don't think they were physically swapping the ballots, clearly his money went to good use, and they did skirt many laws in order to get Donald Trump the presidency. I don't know why we are just issuing a letter of reprimand. Is that literally what the crime here is? For filling out information for people when only relatives are supposed to do that? It doesn't make sense to me. If you're trying to prevent people from doing this in the future, wouldn't you say, like, hey, let's find this guy as much as possible. Let's get this guy on trial. A letter? Is that really the best we got?
I think that we need more than a strongly worded letter. I think we definitely need more than that. Let me see if there is anything else I wanted to share with you before I go. Hey, Kakai Patel busted.
Kash Patel, who had
Kakai Patel is bust. he tweeted this, and then he tried to delete the tweet where he is taking your tax dollars and flying his private jet over to the Olympics and partying down and having 45, 47 on the phone saying something derogatory about the women's hockey team that won the gold medal, to the extent that the women hockey team that won the gold medal has turned down 45, 47's offer to come to the White House. They was like, fuck you, bitch. We're not coming anywhere. You fucking shit in your diaper ass booty motherfucker. No, we will not be partying with you. Now, Kakai Patel, him and his pot gut is out there partying on your tax dollar dime, while 45, 47, Mar-a-Lago home is being raided by some a right-wing lunatic. But I'm sure he won't be put on a domestic terrorist list, as if it was a person that they could deem that was from the left.
So Ben Williamson here said this. Ben Williamson, who is FBI Director Kash Patel's Assistant Director to Public Affairs, said, I literally gave this RAG director's almost entire official meeting schedule when in Italy, and they still tweeted this garbage. And said here, Kash Patel headed to Milan for the Olympics on the FBI jet. And when you know it, breaking, caught in a lie, Kash Patel was accidentally recorded on Team USA's Dylan Larkin's Instagram video that was now deleted, celebrating with Team USA in the locker room after the gold medal game, even though the FBI Assistant Director of Public Affairs claimed it was false when MS Now journalists reported that Patel was going to the Olympics. Here's a bit. There you go. And then more came out where this is... Someone said here, we paid over $400,000 for Kash Patel to do this. I want
freedoms. All these make America god awful again people, all with their freedom fake bullshit that they always try to cloak their ignorance in. So there's that. Go check it out. More stories about Kakai Patel living it up on the taxpayer dollar. Is there any else? Let me see. The billionaires have evaporated the AI bubble. They have quit jerking each other's dick to prop up the stock market, and now the AI bubble is bursting because these big tech companies are no longer saying that they're going to invest $800 billion here and $200 billion there, and all of this investment has created no new jobs, no more manufacturing jobs at the tax bill, the tax cuts were to create, the tariffs we're going to create. We're going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Where is this manufacturing being created? Where? Nowhere. Let me see. What else? I just want to make sure. Steve Smith knows something about Iran.
All right, welcome back to the Jim Acosta Show, and we're looking at this as kind of a special edition of as the person who ran John Roberts' confirmation in the Bush White House and sat behind him for those hearings. And we could go and talk about that for an hour about the disgrace of his presiding over the Supreme Court. But what I think we learned today is something important, which is that the Supreme Court is not completely and irrevocably corrupt. It's just profoundly corrupt. Right. And so there was no workaround for this. The tariffs, an economic disaster that are wrecking the economy of the country for ordinary people, are a specific congressional authority. So these have been illegal from day one. And the slow reaction to the constitutional breach that these tariffs represented has been responsible for a lot of chaos in the economy in this country and all over the world that has profoundly weakened America's standing, our reputation, and has been at the end of the day, and we'll find out all about this in the years to come. But what this all has been about is Trump's self-enrichment, that behind the tariff door is an epic level of corruption, which is basically you do for Trump and Trump won't slap the tariff on you. And the fact that Democrats, particularly in the form of the leaders, Schumer and Jeffries, have not been screaming at a volume that could be heard from outer space about this issue is a reason why I think the profound divide in the Democratic Party is not ideological, but it's between appeasers and fighting Democrats. And
I concur. I think that the Democrats should have been out of sorts, should have been at these microphones. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are absolute failures. In my opinion, they should be voted out of their seats. They have not done anything to fight against this administration, to mobilize their voters. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. But be quiet and take their APEC money. So that link is in my description box under what is the description box that is under. I just wanted to give you a little bit of the content that I have available for you. That is under what is that under? The U.S. is being robbed. There's quite a few under the U.S. is being robbed. Let me see. If you didn't know, 4547 has signed an agreement to let the cancer-causing ingredient that is found in the Roundup. He has allowed that back into production. Let me share that with you. The funny thing about it is, I thought that 4547 was a part of Robert F. Kennedy was a part of the Trump administration. Make America healthy again. If you are unaware, Robert F. Kennedy is really an attorney in real life. If you are not aware, Robert F. Kennedy also was the one who brought this case to court about what is the name of this drug? this chemical that is in Roundup. R.F. Kennedy was the one who fought and won the case about this chemical being in Roundup because the runoff runs into farms and to streams, and it is a forever chemical. You know, those forever chemicals that never leaves your body, that have caused many cases of cancer. So the amount that has been allowed was reduced. Well, guess who has allowed the increase in these
things like Roundup? They're linked to cancer, and they have been the subject of lawsuits across the United States of America. And while the new executive order instructs the Department of Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins to issue orders and regulations as may be necessary to implement the order to boost the production of this glyphosate chemical under the Defense Production Act. And many say this is not making America healthier, Gren. It's making America potentially sicker. Spread the word. I'll have full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along for all the news you need to know about. We have some big news right now. Donald Trump just signed an executive order to boost the production of glyphosate, which is a chemical that has been linked to cancer. And well, MAHA, the Make America Healthy Again movement led by RFK Jr., advocates, they're upset. But not just MAHA. I mean, everyday health experts are really alarmed over this new executive order. So the new executive order essentially grants immunity to glyphosate pesticide production. Glyphosate-based herbicides have been found in things like Roundup. They're linked to cancer, and they have been the subject of lawsuits across the United States of America. And while the new executive order instructs the Department of Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins,
presented and given to you by none other than the Department of Agriculture. Okay, this is who has been given the permission. Now, let's. I told you a little bit the last time I was here that Harvey, Lex Wexner was interviewed was deposed by Congress. And let's hear one of the things that Lex Wexner's attorney told him in answering a question. Let me go into the volume. Let me turn up the volume. Midas Touch Network. Lex Wexner's attorney delivers shocking message to Wexner during deposition. I'll fucking kill you if you answer another question with more than 5 words, okay?
Answer another question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question. Okay. It was just regularly done. Answer another question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question. Okay. It was just regularly done. Answer another question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question. Okay. It was just regularly done. Answer another question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question. Okay. It was just regularly done.
Seems like Lex is in a good mood. It seems like Lex doesn't feel like he's in jeopardy at all. Let me see. There's also in North Korean fashion, if you are unaware, there is a new portrait in the city of Washington, D.C. 4547 has plastered another poster of his face, North Korea style. I think it's at the Department of Justice. How apropos that he would put his personal photo at the DOJ.
North Korea style poster that's going up in Washington, D.C. Other critics say that the Department of Justice is putting up a picture of someone who has been named in the Epstein files more than Harry Potter was named in all 7 Harry Potter books. But I digress. But this is what it looks like today. I'll probably stop by later this afternoon, check it out myself. Spread the word. Imagine if a Democrat did this. Just imagine what the outrage would be. Biden would have probably been impeached already. Follow along for more. We have some news right now. There is mass outrage because this is what the Department of Justice looks like today. This is a picture taken by Hannah Rabinowitz from CNN. And on the side of the Department of Justice today, there is a big flag of sorts, a poster with Donald Trump's name on it. Now, Donald Trump is obviously the president, but the Department of Justice is supposed to be a semi-independent executive branch agency. But now his face is on the side of the Department of Justice building in Washington, D.C.
Okay, that is in my description box. All of the links that I just shared are in my description box. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this Ghislaine Maxwell story. Now, this could be a conspiracy. I don't know. You decide. I agree. It doesn't look like her. They are questioning whether Ghislaine Maxwell has been already released from prison. So let's get into the volume of this all, and you decide.
Picture was taken. New York Post conveniently got footage of Ghislaine Maxwell walking the yard in prison. And what do you know? They are now handing out umbrellas in jail. You know, to make sure her skin doesn't get damaged, or maybe so we don't see her face. The question now is, did she ever actually go to prison? She may have taken these photos in 2020, but the video from that same day seems to be somebody entirely different. So, what do you think? Did Ghislaine's appearance completely change in the last 6 years since she's been in prison? Or did they swap her out with a bad body double? As always, I want to hear.
I just saw something crazy and I can't unsee it, and you need to see it too. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell. That's what she looked like. Here she is, a few years later, maybe more recently, aged a little bit, but you can see what she looks like. Here she is in prison after her arrest. This is essentially her mugshot. Her hair's longer, she's changed her appearance. She was in hiding for a while. This is what she looks like the most recently since we've seen her. Up until her hearing with the House Oversight Committee just a week ago. Who the hell is this? This is the person, supposedly Ghislaine Maxwell, that testified before Congress. Look. This is supposed to be this? Are you kidding me? Who is this person?
Yo, they really think we're stupid. They really think that we're stupid. These chomos and these chomo protectors really think we're stupid. This is not the same person. What do you think?
This is Ghislaine Maxwell. This is the most recent photo of her released on Monday, February 9th, 2026. When you do a side-by-side comparison, the noses don't match, and either do the eyes. Looks like they've got the body double fitted with a cheap Amazon wig. When have we seen this before? Not only that, but the Friday before this picture was taken, New York Post conveniently got footage of Ghislaine Maxwell walking the yard in prison. And what do you know? They are now handing out umbrellas.
Tell me, have you seen her? Seen her? It seems like Jolene has a body double. Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? Seen her? Let's get into this last story. Ted Lieu. Since we heard 4547 has come out and said that he has been vindicated by the trickling of heavily redacted Epstein emails, which it is reported only 2% have been released. Ted Lieu has something to say about him perusing through the Epstein files and the things and the accusations that he have found about 4547 personally in the Epstein files. So this is going to be the last link I am going to have in my description box. Representative Ted Lieu claims President Trump is accused of, you see it right there, raping children in the Epstein files. If you are unaware of this, the link will be in the description box. You can also Google it and watch it on YouTube.
I'm a retired lieutenant colonel in the United States Marine Corps.
And now I'm at the Walt Disney Company.
Let me turn down the commercial. Oh my God. Let me turn down the commercial. I apologize for the commercial. Here we go.
Are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage the press to go look at these allegations, and I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, of the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release a lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls. It is uncalled for what they did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now, who were girls at the time, who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, moved her to minimum security prison, and then got a puppy for her. So for all those reasons, he's just got to leave the Department of Justice.
Okay. I will show that to you in YouTube too. If you it's so that picture was so crisp. I was like, I need to make sure that is actually a true picture. Let me share it one more time. From PBS, a source that you definitely are familiar with. Both of these links are in my description box under Ted Lieu. So there is no mistaking. The links are in the description box under Ted Lieu. This is on C-SPAN, not PBS, on C-SPAN nonetheless.
So why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage the press to go look at these allegations, and I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, of the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release a lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls. It is uncalled for what they did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now who were girls at the time who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell moved her to a minimum security prison and then got a puppy for her. So for all those reasons, he's just got to leave the Department of Justice.
I just wanted to share that with you. Now, before I leave, before before I let you go, doom 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 doom, da da da. Hey, Candy Cane, it is good to see you. It is always good to see you, Candy Cane. Before I leave, let me see if there is any new news story, any breaking news. Trump deletes evidence against him in Epstein files. Let me see what else. The link between Epstein and systems of power. Oh, the State of the Union is tonight. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that we will be reviewing the State of the Union, and we will also be reviewing the alternative State of the Union. If you are unaware of some of your elected officials have decided to boycott the State of the Union, and they will be doing the alternative State of the Union with the Midas Touch Network. Let me drop the link to the Midas Touch in my chat and in my description box. Maybe I'll see you guys over at the Midas Touch. Watching their alternative State of the Union address. Trump suffers major health crash before State of the Union. They said he may not make it there. So just in case he don't make it, the Midas Touch Network will be hosting an alternative State of the Union address. 4547 said he has a lot to talk about, so the State of the Union address will be quite lengthy. Here is the Midas Touch Network. I have also dropped it in my description box. So now this is the last link in my description box. I just labeled it Midas Touch. So you can go there tonight. If you're not familiar with Midas Touch, go check them out. Okay. Let's see. Shall we see if he's going to make it or not? Let me see what they're talking about. He may not make it or not. Let me see if it's good enough to tell you. Oh, they already have the link set up. It's called the People's State of the Union. I'll give you the link to the Midas Touch Alternative State of the Union. Let me copy it. Here it is, the People's State of the Union. Here it is right here. So you can go over there and join the Midas Touch. Let me see. Here it is right here. All right, that will be in my description box as well. The People's State of the Union. All right, I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Let me drop that. Make sure it's in. It's under the Midas Touch, the People's State of the Union. Here we go. Oh, I wanted to see if 4547 will be making it to his own address. Let's see what time does it start. Because the chat is already full. Let's see who will be part of the People's State of the Union. Midas Touch and Move On Civic Action hosts the People's State of the Union live from the National Mall in D.C., hosted by Katie Fang and Joy Reid. The event will feature lawmakers alongside federal workers, immigrants, and Americans impacted by 4547 policies. So let me see what time. I don't see a starting time. Let me go back. 7 p.m. Central Time. So that would be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you go over there and check out the alternative State of the Union address. Hold on one second. Hmm.
And then she was saying, boss, I don't think this is appropriate. Boss, we need to stop. Boss, this is going too far. Please stop. And Gonzalez just wouldn't stop. And he kept on going. And then finally, the staffer's husband sent a message. Republican member Tony Gonzalez to resign. He has been caught in an affair with one of his staffers. She died by suicide in September of 2025. She purportedly burned herself to death and lit herself on fire in a horrifically tragic incident. Nobody really understood the circumstances of what happened. And her husband was saying, look, she's been having an affair with Congressmember Tony Gonzalez from Texas's 23rd. And Gonzalez was denying it. And he was saying absolutely no way. Now the text messages have surfaced. The staffer's husband made these text messages public, and they are absolutely horrific. And throughout all of the evening into early hours, all throughout 2024, you have this MAGA Republican Congressmember Tony Gonzalez sexually harassing the staffer, saying, send naked photos, anal question mark. I want to see you naked. What do we get? What's your favorite position? And then she was saying, boss, I don't think this is appropriate. Boss, we need to stop. Boss, this is going too far. Please stop. And Gonzalez just wouldn't stop. And he kept on going. And then finally, the staffer's husband sent a message to everybody in the office saying, I know what's going on and you all know what's going on and everybody is complicit in this. And then she, allegedly died by suicide under very mysterious circumstances too. And people are like, what even happened there? And so that needs to be investigated. He isn't resigning. Donald Trump has given Gonzalez a very strong MAGA endorsement saying he's with this guy. He's with Gonzalez. But then you have a lot of,
but of course he would be with this guy. But of course he would be supporting this guy.
female MAGA leaders. You have Anna Paulina Luna, you have Nancy Mace, you have Lauren Boebert and others saying this guy needs to go. And all of this drama is happening right before the State of the Union. And MAGA Mike Johnson is saying, oh, these are very serious accusations, but I guess we just got to see how it's going to all play out. I guess we got to see how it's going to play out. Let me show you what MAGA Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna wrote moments ago. The entire Texas delegation, as well as every single other member of Congress, should be condemning a sitting member of Congress asking for explicit photos of their staff. As a woman, this is really disgusting to see. Not to mention, it brings dishonor on the House of Representatives. I'm so sick of people not calling this crap out. Again, like I've said before, this is not the only case of this crap up here. Tony Gonzalez, shame on you. Lauren Boebert says, Tony Gonzalez, resign now. And that was in response to an article about how texts indicate that Gonzalez sought explicit photos from his former staffer. Here's MAGA Republican Congresswoman from South Carolina, Nancy Mace's post. She goes the following: these text messages are disgusting and inexcusable. She's calling for the resignation of Tony Gonzalez after the text messages between Gonzalez and his late staffer, Regina Santos Aviles, have now surfaced. She says the messages are disgusting. A member of Congress harassing his own staffer in the middle of the night, asking for explicit photos, pressing her on sexual positions. Regina Santos Aviles told him he was going too far. She literally said that. You're going too far. Stop. He didn't care. He kept going. She is gone now. Her son is growing up without his mother, and Tony Gonzalez is campaigning in Texas like nothing happened. We have zero tolerance for those who abuse their power over others. Zero. It does not matter what party you're in, what title you hold, or how powerful you think you are. You do not get a free pass. Tony Gonzalez should resign immediately and be held accountable for what he's done. She and her family deserve better, and Texans deserve a congressman who does not prey on women. So here's the husband from Aviles' husband right here. Here's what she says. Just a heads up. This was his message to Gonzalez's office. Let's pull it open right here. Just a heads up, this is Adrian Aviles, Regina's soon-to-be ex-husband. I just wanted to inform all of you that we will be getting a divorce after my discovery of text messages and pictures that she's been having an affair on me with your boss, Tony Gonzalez, for some time now. Feel free to reach out if you want or more, or you need an explanation. As Julie Grace Brufke explains, these texts also indicate Gonzalez sought explicit photos from the staffer, which she pushed back on. He goes, send me a sexy pic. And then she goes,
just depravity at its worst. Depravity. And this is who 4547 is endorsing for a seat in Texas seat. The great old state of Texas that gerrymandered their map to disenfranchise black voters. This is what's going on in Texas. Just in case I forgot to put this in my description box, I will drop it in the chat. I am thoroughly and totally sickened about the deplorable behavior, the abnormal that they are trying to normalize in our political circles now. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you guys for being here. I apologize for my service going out and me having to come back in and blah, 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 blah. I think I have about 4 or 5 extra lives that went off today. I appreciate your help. Hit the like button, make a comment. It would help. It'll help to boost me in the algorithm. I appreciate all of your support, and I hope you guys have a fabulous remainder of your